I'm going to share a very personal story. And it's interesting, for many years, I wouldn't even share this story. And the reason is I felt so vulnerable, especially because I was a consultant and I was supposed to have this hot career and, have it all together and know all the answers and doing work for high profile clients. I felt like if I shared any of this, that they wouldn't hire me. I mean, it was just a huge fear for me. But the reality was, back in 2002, I started having serious health problems, and part of it had to do with the fact that I worked, horrible hours. I didn't take care of my body. My job owned me, and I gave birth to my first child, William, who's shown in this picture now, and everything went to pieces. Very quickly, I got diagnoses that I had 2 autoimmune diseases and a failing thyroid, and then they started telling me he had issues, and I had all this stuff going on, and I really, at the time, I remember just thinking, like, well, they told me my body's shot, I'm going to be crippled by the time I'm in my mid-40s, all this kind of stuff. And I just said, well, fine. I'm just going to keep working as hard as I work and focusing on my career, and that's just it. I accepted what they said as truth. And honestly, once they told me this whole story of why I was 140 pounds overweight by the time all the diagnoses rolled in, and they basically told me that was going to be the rest of my life because I had this thyroid issue and this autoimmune disease. And one day, a few years after my son was born, I was at the park with him, and still 140 pounds overweight, would love to say I was thinner, and he ran away from me. And he ran directly out in front of a car that was going. And I tried to chase him, and I was too fat to catch him. And I remember at that time literally looking at the car and thinking, oh my God, I am too fat to catch my child and save his life. And thank God that day that driver stopped, so he didn't get hit. But I will tell you, from that moment, I remember walking home with him in the stroller and thinking to myself, I will never, ever be that helpless again. That I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know where I was going to do it, but that I would be able to run faster than my son. That was never going to happen to me again. And so I actually made a phone call and hired a personal trainer. And at the time I had just launched, I was just in a big growth phase in my business, and I'd already taken on debt. So I literally took out a home equity loan to the tune of $11,000 to pay this trainer non-refundable in advance for a year to come to my house, watch the food I ate, and just basically babysit me. And I remember when I hired her, I told her, I said, look, I can't lose weight. I got these 2 autoimmune diseases. I got this failing thyroid, blah, 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 blah. But I just want to be able to run faster than my son. So whatever you can do around getting me so that I can run faster than my son, I'm cool with. So obviously, fast forward to now, I am not 140 pounds overweight. A lot of you know me in person. A lot of you see me in pictures. I've lost well over 100 pounds. And I don't have 2 autoimmune diseases anymore. I actually put both into remission. They're non-detectable in my system, and I have a fully functioning thyroid. But what shifted? So my view still was that I couldn't lose weight. I mean, heck, all I wanted to do was run faster than my son. I didn't even bring the weight into it because I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do there. What shifted, though, was my commitment to my idea. And so even though I had this huge pile of views that some I'd given myself and some others had given me, I committed non-negotiably to run faster than my son. And so suddenly all my outcomes were driven by the commitment. Didn't matter all those little voices in my head and all the things the doctor told me and looking in the mirror and seeing what a wreck everything was. I was committed. And so one of the things you all have to realize and master is what we call the cycle of open possibility. And the reason why commitment and commitment to an idea that becomes goals, that become actions, is your perceptions and views lose their power. You take action no matter what you think or feel. You act in alignment with your commitments, not your feelings or your views. And so you break that cycle of self-fulfilling prophecy and actually create one of open possibility, because you stand in the commitment versus your view around something. And so I really that day realized that power, and it was a blessing. I even shifted my entire consulting practice when I distinguished this for myself on how I consulted with my clients, because I thought, oh my God, I was in this. They're all in this, and created all coursework and all sorts of stuff out of this one revelation on the power of commitment.